Week 12 is upon us, and this one should be an interesting one because, frankly, a lot of the games don't look that appealing. But, of course, we've got games. We've got a lot to talk about here, so let's get right into it. This is your fantasy football gauntlet, of course. We're going to build lineups a bunch of different ways. I'm going to hand build the lineup first off. Then I'm going to check the projections on Stochastic and optimize some lineups based off of that to tell us where the field's going to be forced to mathematically. We're also going to run some sims. We're going to do an Underdog Battle Royale and build an Underdog Pick'em. Of course, it is a gauntlet for a reason, guys. We're going to fully gauntlet it up. Shout out to the chat. As always, appreciate all you guys hanging out, waiting for me here, just watching the Stochastic stream I was just on. Yes, just talked about some football, and now I'm ready to talk about more football. We got Millionaire Maker winners in the house, Short Gamer TV, and we've got Obi-Wan, Robert Griffin III, a good mix here of guys that have won millions and will be winning millions, I'm sure, coming up over the next few weeks. But let's start with the hand build here. So the chalk player of the week, and this one kind of threw me for a loop. I forgot to change my logos behind me or my thumbnails. Hold on one sec, guys. Because this is a crucial one because I have to be able to point to the thumbnail and go, look at this asshole. Jonathan Taylor going to be the chalk of the week, as you can see now behind my head. Why is everyone playing him is the question. And the reason is that there are no good running back plays on the slate that actually project well, that have a good salary to him. Jonathan Taylor is the chalk. That said, I don't love Jonathan Taylor, and I do think you can get leverage against him because this matchup against the Bucs is actually not the best one for running backs overall. Tampa Bay on the year, and Tampa Bay, the run defense is not quite as scary as it was a few years ago, but on the year, Tampa Bay's defense giving up a negative 0.14 EPA per rush, negative 0.28 EPA per red zone rush. Where they do struggle, though, is in that pass game, which is why a lot of times in these videos I've advocated attacking the Tampa Bay Bucs pass game. Sometimes that has worked. Sometimes Will Levis, cough, cough, that has not worked. But in this spot, I do think that Indianapolis can get a lot of results through the air. 0.05 EPA per dropback allowed by the Tampa Bay defense. Of course, the expected points added metric tells you how much above average a team is giving up or how much they're doing on offense as well. But 0.05 EPA per dropback, 0.05 EPA per pass, a 0.18 EPA on throws of under 20 air yards, and a 0.54 EPA on throws of over 20 air yards. So you can attack this Tampa Bay pass defense any way you want. And I do think with all the ownership going to Taylor for a single entry build, I could still play Taylor, but I would rather go to a stack with Gardner Minshew. We are back on the Colts train, guys. Anthony Richardson he's not playing again this year. Is there like a miraculous recovery coming for Anthony Richardson? Maybe. But for this week, I will believe in Gardner Minshew. I am back on the Colts show, and I'm back here believing in them once more. Wheels up Josh Downs, perhaps, but I would also say perhaps wheels up for Mr. Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman has had the target workload overall. 12 targets last time out, 8 targets a game before that, caught all 8 of them, 13, 14. We have seen the ceiling there for Pittman. So I think Downs might be a play that we get to as well, but Pittman is the one that I really do want to highlight here. 6,800 comes up well in the Sims, which I had to spoil it for myself and do it around the stream before me with Stochastic, of course, with my pal Greg Ehrenberg. But we'll see what the Sims tell us when I pull the projections in here in a moment for running them live here. But I think Pittman's a strong play. He does seem like a solid data play, and I do think that he is a player that I would like to build around this week. Let's see. Oh, God. Lenny, you can't just come in only when he has a moderately good game. Like, I lose respect for you when you do this now. I have to tell you, again, and that was also just an okay game. It wasn't even as good as fucking Devin Singletary was last week, especially relative to price. So just get out of here, Lenny. You're right about your player who was drafted top 3. Congratulations. But be here when he sucks, and I'll respect it a little bit more. Josh Downs. The people love Josh Downs. I also tolerate Josh Downs. Downs has been banged up a little bit most recently. We did see the target share come down a little bit in these matchups. 1 target, 3 targets here. We do know he has the ceiling of 8, 9 targets as well in his bag. The slot targets as well should be pretty good for him going against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, the weakest spot to attack for them is going to be out of the slot. 0.41 EPA allowed there compared to 0.06 EPA allowed out wide. 0.12 EPA allowed to tight end. So Josh Downs on the year, 51 slot targets compared to 41 for Michael Pittman. So Josh Downs, I think, would be the player that we will go to complete the double stack. You could do it with a triple with Jonathan Taylor, but I think trying to get leverage on the field going to Jonathan Taylor is certainly the move that I would make. But if you put Taylor in, the thesis is fine. You don't even need Taylor to get a lot of pass game work. He just needs to be the guy that cleans up the touchdowns at the end. So I think for the stack, you could do the triple with Gardner Minshew, but I'm going to do the double and see if we can get different at running back. But I do think a running back play, So I'm kind of curious about this game environment overall with Tampa Bay and Indianapolis. The total's not the highest necessarily. 21 implied points for Tampa Bay, 23.5 for Indianapolis. But it does feel like an environment, given the explosive plays that Indianapolis gives up. In fact, that Tampa Bay as well, again, just doesn't depend on the pass well, that maybe we can get a full game stack going of this one and add in a few pieces alongside of it. So I think that Mike Evans, kind of an interesting play in this one. On the year, Indianapolis only giving up a 3.6% deep ball rate, but they are giving up a high completion rate of 44%. Also giving up an 8% touchdown rate on deep throws and a 0.5 EPA as well on throws of 20-plus air yards. So Mike Evans will be another guy that I go to here, and that's going to be the player to complete this duo slash this entire build. And I guess you could also go Rachaad White. I'm not going to force that one, but Rachaad White, I don't mind. We've seen him get a lot of pass game work, certainly in competitive spots as well. Last week just had 9 attempts, but had 7 targets in that game, so 16 overall touches. We've seen 20 rushes plus 3 targets, 20 rushes plus 4 targets. The workload's been really great for Rachaad White, so I don't mind him. And I'm tempted actually to put him in this lineup too. Fuck it. Let's go full game stack. I think Rachaad White's a good enough play that we can go to. And I feel some amount of confidence in him. So more confidence in Mike Evans for me. But I think this Indianapolis Tampa Bay build is pretty appealing for just given the weaknesses on both sides. And the ability, I think, to give up a lot of explosive plays. Other running backs we can get to. So we have Kamara. We do have Jonathan Taylor. We're not going to play him with Rachaad White. DeAndre Swift currently has the Q tag. I imagine he'll go. He was limited in practice, so you could see on the screen. Swift, kind of interesting play against Buffalo. If we do see Buffalo fail on the offensive side, you're probably going to see Swift be more involved. I also think that Kyren Williams is an interesting play coming off of IR, practice fully on Thursday. Should be a go here. Right now, a lot of the projection systems have Royce Freeman in. If Kyren Williams is in, obviously he's going to be a much better version of the Royce Freeman projection. Not going to be as cheap at 6,600, but the red zone work, as we talked about, is about as good as anybody in the league who's not Christian McCaffrey. Kyren Williams, I think, a player that comes in the spot against Arizona. Arizona's defense also very bad. Kyren, an interesting player to go to, and let's see if we can cram him in. So one player that, again, I was spoiled by the Sims here doing the stochastic stream right before this one. One player comes up a lot, and you guys won't like who it is. Juju Smith-Schuster at 3K comes up quite a bit. He played over 68 snaps. He played over 65 snaps, played 68 flat the last time the Patriots played. Pop Douglas, I think, is kind of a more interesting player overall in the year. Definitely has had a little bit more juice in terms of the results that he's gotten. Douglas, though, only played, let's see. Pop played 50 snaps the week before last, so Juju played more despite his concerns about his knee exploding. I think that for a single entry build, I'm going to go to Juju here. I think the Sims are going to like Juju a little bit too much for like a milli maker. Juju is probably a little bit overowned because he is 3K flat, but I think Juju is a pretty nice play relative to whatever Juju is as a play. But in this spot against a Giants defense that we know isn't very good, a Giants defense also gives up over 370 yards per game. Like, somebody has to produce something in this game, I would think. But I don't expect to be a shootout because both teams are for under 20 implied points. But I think Juju in this spot is a solid play, and that's enough of a defensive Juju that I can make here. Tight ends, let's see what we can get. Can we afford to go to Kelce? Is there a 2K defense that we'd hit? Because I really don't care at all about playing a good defense. Any defense can get there in a given week. So the cheapest defense is going to be the Texans at 2,600. Boy, they really did price up the Steelers, huh? Going against Jake Browning. That's pretty tough. So tight end, we have to save a little bit of money, then can't go to Travis Kelce, which sucks. Dortch seems like the better 3K range play considering injuries to the Cards receivers. Maybe. I think they're pretty similar plays. I'm not the biggest Dortch guy. Dortch did get more work than Rondale Moore. Rondale Moore had the bigger touchdown last time out. People like Dortch a lot. I get it. It's not for me. And shout out to Rob here, one Debo TD away from taking down an underdog turkey. So damn close. That is the nature of the game, unfortunately. The good thing is that we got right here is on the stream. Cowboys, again, only 2 Cowboys plus the Cowboys D made the winning lineup yesterday. So you're in good hands here with the overall game theory. It's just how it all lines up and how it works for you. I didn't have any Curtis Samuel yesterday, so that's what fucked me up, even though I had 2x the field on Christian Watson. But hey, Christian Watson hit. Got that going for us. All right. Let's plug in a defense, and then we'll just take whatever we get at tight end. Browns D against the Broncos. I do like that. Broncos, I think, have been running like the sun relative to Broncos outcomes lately, where that defense is not very good. The offense also is, frankly, not that great. But the Browns D, one of the best in the league, that's single-handedly propping up their chances to make the playoffs. So I am going to go with Browns D here and see what we get at tight end. There's just so much money left on the table. So I guess what we're going to have to do, let's go Pop Douglas. will get different from the field because Juju should be a chalkier play. This will leave us 5K at salary for tight end. Oh, Taysom Hill or Trey McBride. Trey McBride, probably the more logical play. McBride, I mean, I guess we know the deal about McBride. I don't need to pull up any specific numbers. The matchup, though, going against the Rams D, not great versus tight ends. 0.26 EPA allowed to tight ends, 0.25 EPA allowed out of the slot. Zach Ertz not expected back for this one, so I think that's a positive, at least in the projections. I think he might be off IR, but either way, though, not expected to be playing by the Stochastic and ETR right now. So McBride will be the guy we go to close this out. I think Taysom Hill would be an interesting play, but I just don't have the faith at 5K to play him. McBride, we know at least has a real role, so he's going to be the guy that closes this one out. And he is a little bit of a bring back for a Kyren Williams, so I guess that has some game theory sense in terms of this build. Final build here: Gardner Minshew, Rashad White, Kyren Williams, Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, Mike Evans, Trey McBride, Pop Douglas, and Browns D. And then we will see what that works out with here with the single entry. Been cashing these a lot, but have not even come close to sniffing a winner while building it live on stream. So maybe we're due here. A game stack for a single entry, I think, a little bit more logical that could bubble up. Let's look at the projections. Expected more of a victory lap on Watson, Spags. I'm very happy with the results, but I know how finicky this all can be. And it did take, Wicks being out. It did take, Malik Heath was getting work in that game. Musgrave being out as well. I think it took a lot for Watson to get there. So if anything, I feel more steeled in my thesis that I talked about earlier in the week, where Watson, I think, has been most affected by having actual targets that take things away from him. In addition to, he's just been running unluckily. So I think that's it. But I'm more just I want this to continue on for another 6 weeks or 5 weeks of Christian Watson is what I'm hoping. So I don't want to jinx it, but I do think that he showed some real signs of life there and could have had an even bigger day. Almost had a second touchdown in that one, which would have been pretty nice. Let's look at the projections and see what we're getting here. We will run the optimizer off of these and see what that gives us. Top projected plays overall: Jalen Hurts. Let me filter down just to the main slate. Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Jonathan Taylor, Cooper Kupp are top 5. Cooper Kupp, I'm not expecting to play with that ankle injury. We will see what happens in that one. If Cooper Kupp isn't playing, you would think that Puka Nacua takes a pretty big jump upwards. Puka at a $7,600 price tag. So he will be basically the same play as Cooper Kupp, I would imagine, in the projection systems. And if we see Cooper Kupp out, makes Kyren Williams a better play, makes Puka a better play. All those guys become better plays. Top values on the slate: Juju, again, top value, 3.8x value here from Stochastic. He's going to come up naturally. I do think he is a player where Christian Watson did come up in a lot of lineups, and I think people played him a little bit less than they probably should have. He was under 20% owned in the field. I think Juju is going to be a similar player where people probably don't want to play him as much as they should, even though the Sims will tell you that that Juju Smith-Schuster is a good play. So we'll see how that goes, but definitely pretty tough. Definitely pretty tough. Sharp calling Watson. Luckily, the Samuel brothers bailed you out. Oh, yeah. Both Samuels doing well. And I don't know that you should call them brothers, but I do think, but the Samuel boys did a good job yesterday. I had Debo, did not have Curtis Samuel anywhere, which has really been one of the biggest mistakes, I think, in my portfolio, where I have Howell, I have McLaurin, I have Dotson in best ball. And even in DFS, I play those guys, play Logan Thomas, and it's just Curtis Samuel getting there every week. And another thing, too, that we mentioned, the tight end matchup for the Cowboys going against the Cowboys is so good, but a tight end matchup weakness is sometimes just a reflection of an overall slot weakness. And we kind of saw that yesterday where Curtis Samuel gets there, Logan Thomas does not. Other value plays to note here: Baker Mayfield, Gardner Minshew, one of the top values, Matthew Stafford. Still have a hard time playing Stafford, stacked up, unless you're really stacking up the team and the players with him. So Stafford, if you're playing him, I feel like you got to have Puka, you got to have Kyren Williams if we're assuming Cooper Kupp is out, but I would definitely make it at least a QB +2 with Stafford, because I don't think he can get there as a QB +1. Evan Ingram's going to pop up a lot in the Sims, I'm pretty sure, and he's due. He's really due, but he's been bad for a lot of weeks because he doesn't get that red zone work, as we've talked about. Only one red zone target on the year. Ownership. Also, wait, Robert Griffin III got 4th at a DK contest. Did I miss this in here? Shout out to whichever Robert got. I don't know if it's Robert Van Natten or whatever, but shout out to anybody who's winning. Of course, always glad to hear about the success in the community, and appreciate all you guys being here with me, whether you're a winner or a big old loser. It's okay. I gave away $200 on yesterday's slate, so I feel the same pains as you guys. But we're so due. We're so due. The Sklansky Bucks really racking up with some of the plays that I advocate for. Top owned players according to Stochastic: Jonathan Taylor, 31% overall. Trey McBride, 20% overall. Evan Ingram, 19%. I just fucking Ingram, man. Cooper Kupp, 17.6%. Obviously, that'll go away if he's not playing. And I would imagine that Puka Nacua then becomes probably the chalkiest play in the slate alongside Jonathan Taylor. James Conner at number 5, 17%. And then Pittman at number 6, 17.2%. There we go. All right. Seems like Ingram is always popping in the Sims. That is true. I've been getting a lot of Ingram lately, and sometimes it sucks because then you like the guy misses for 2 straight weeks, then you don't play him, and the Sims are still pushing you there, and then he hits in week 3. So I'll still probably play some amount of Ingram, but I just feel like he's priced, and I think the Sims are treating him like the player he was last year. I just don't think it's the same situation for him. But obviously, that's me talking. That's not a data point. But just the lack of red zone work, more options to go to, I feel like are not great things for an Evan Ingram. But we'll see. He certainly has the ceiling. We know that. I just personally don't have the faith overall. Spags, sorry I sniped Tyreek in your Dolphins draft. Wasn't watching. Are you? What? I haven't drafted anything. I don't know. I don't know what we're talking about, but I'm sure. I thank you for, if you're talking about best ball, then yes, I appreciate you apologizing months later. Let's upload the projections. We'll see. All right. And then, of course, what the sim or what the optimizer is going to tell us is not exactly what the field's going to play. What it is going to tell you, though, is where the math pushes people towards the most. So that's what you should be looking into with this exercise over the summer. Okay, good news for you. I don't remember. I don't remember shit. So more power to you. Got it. Thanks. Let me select the slate here. Got to select the main slate. All right, let's crunch it and see what we get. Yeah. Okay. Shout out to Dantino. Appreciate you. I appreciate you apologizing, but it's okay. Tyreek is going to help out a lot of people. And at this point, honestly, like the teams that are advancing where you don't have Tyreek, I think are a little more interesting just because, like we've talked about in the best ball review shows, Tyreek can be one of the highest advance rate guys out there. So if you don't have Tyreek in a build, it's going to be a little more interesting for sure. But obviously, if you have Tyreek, you should have some other guys who are going to pop big days alongside of them. Here are the top optimized lineups here. So Juju comes up everywhere. So Juju chalk, I think it's going to be hard to avoid. Jonathan Taylor comes up in all of them as well. So Taylor chalk, hard to avoid. Evan Ingram coming up in 96 out of these lineups, or 96% of these lineups. So 24 out of 25. So he'll be everywhere. The team stacks. How is this going to be built? So nothing too crazy here. You're getting at least 2 Colts at a lot of them. So that's something to note here where you're getting 2 Colts, but you're not really getting Gardner Minshew. Minshew only coming up in 2 out of 25 lineups. So when you're getting guys that occur naturally, but you're not getting the QB with it, I do think that a Taylor plus Pittman plus Minshew team is probably a little bit more logical than we're getting just based off the projections alone. We are getting a good amount of Jaguars as well. 12 out of the 25 lineups have 2 Jaguars. So again, just based on all the stuff, you're expecting people to be pushed a lot towards Juju, pushed a lot towards Jonathan Taylor, and then pushed to a slightly lesser degree to Evan Ingram, but that's all going to be right there. And then, let's see, we're getting a good amount of 2 tight end builds, but not exclusively 2 tight end builds. Definitely majority 2 tight end builds, it looks like we're getting. So that's another thing you could do where if you only play 1 tight end, you're going to get different from a lot of people's natural construction based off projections. Then defense-wise, only Chiefs and Patriots coming up on defense. So those are the 2 chalk defenses I would expect to get getting a lot everywhere. Obviously, we know the Raiders can give it up pretty good, and the Chiefs D has been very good on the year, but maybe a little bit of a letdown spot for the Chiefs, even though they did lose the Monday night game. Feels like just coming off of a marquee Super Bowl rematch matchup going against the Raiders at home. Feels to me like the Chiefs maybe letting the Raiders hang in this game a little bit more, but they could just be angry too after blowing that game. So we will see how that goes. All right, let's run the Sims here. Let's do 30%. We'll do it that way. And hold on. Got to actually build the lineups first because I did not build this before the show. So what we're going to do here is create 10,000 lineups. And of course, what Stochastic does is have those 10,000 lineups compete against each other 40,000 times. And they also have some promo codes going on there. I just heard Greg talk about in the last stream. So I believe they save 50% with promo code SIMS. And then there's also a Black Friday one to save on their odd shopper stuff. So check out Stochastic and save yourself some money if you want to get the Sims in your life. And I think Saber Sim as well, still doing their 5-day trial as well. So that's another Sim product to use that I would also say is a pretty good one to check out that a lot of pro players do. And very nice to Daniel here to close it out. Thanks for all the streams, definitely helping a lot. I appreciate that. I'm always trying to help you guys out as best I can with my takes. And obviously, the player take stuff. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. But I think the game theory on Splash Play has been as strong as anything out there. So if you are new, please make sure to subscribe down below. We're now just like 90 people away from 3K subs. So I would really appreciate that. If we can hit that, the sooner the better. But please subscribe down below, hit the like button, leave a comment as well. I'm always happy to answer any questions, anything you want me to look at data-wise too. I'm always here for you guys if you need it. So please do that. Spags is the best. Thank you. The Sim Reaper. Yeah. In terms of me playing lineups from the Sims and then immediately killing them. That's what we can call it. I'm also not going to cover the Miami and Jets game today on the stream just because there's only so much time and I have to hop off this and do our probably email and also prepare a few lines for that one. But I do think one thing that I would highlight, obviously we're going to see a lot of Tyreek Hill ownership for that game. I think playing Tyreek is still going to be a better move than not. The Jets on the year just don't send the outside corners into the slot. So I do think that Tyreek, who has the most slot targets on the year, 55 slot targets, compared to 29 for Jalen Waddle, 10 for Cedric Wilson. I think that Tyreek gets fed in a way that he's not going up against Sauce Gardner every single time. So that would be a play that to me, I think he'll be the chalkiest captain ownership as well. But I still would not be afraid of playing Tyreek Hill, even though I think people will go, oh no, like matchup against the Jets pasty, it's going to be bad. It's not always bad, especially for playing out of the slot. And we saw again last week, Dalton Kincaid and Khalil Shakir have outlier days out of the slot. Tim Boyle might be worse than Zach. I would agree. Tim Boyle showed nothing in his career. I guess the only hope is that he's a little more aggressive than Zach Wilson, but we'll find out. I don't mind playing Boyle, but we'll see. I haven't built lineups yet, so I can't attest it. I just wanted to say the Tyreek thing because I know that's how people think is like, oh shit, like this guy has no shot to get there. And I think he will get there today. Whether it be as the captain or a flex, we'll find out, but I think he does get there. All right, so we're going to say 30% to first. It's not accurate. I would like to be accurate here. But the Millie Maker prizes are definitely getting a little bit lower in terms of the total prize pool lately and a little bit higher in terms of what's going to first place. So it is, it's 30% to first or 33% to first, $3 million prize pool. So we're going to go with 30 for our sim and let's sim it out here. Of course, when I run my final sims on the weekend, I do blend the stochastic data with ETR data. What we're looking at here is just going to be the stochastic data, and that does include guys like Cooper Kupp being in the mix. So just keep that in mind. That they have not updated for that yet, or they're currently projecting Kupp to be in, even though Kupp seems more likely to be out. Yeah, so cheap for a QB is Boyle. That's true, and he's going to drop back a lot. But man, like the 15.5 point implied total is not very good. Miami does give up a high completion rate as well. Throws under 20 air yards, 77% completion rate, which is one of the highest marks in the league. So Boyle could theoretically check down a lot. And he has said that he believes his quick release is his best feature. So for Tim Boyle, like maybe you do see a few more just catches going around. Maybe more PPR points for Garrett Wilson or an Allen Lazard. Any of these guys, I think like they're the same play because you just don't know who Boyle's going to favor. Shout out Robert Griffin the Turd. Dealer tip for yesterday's big day. Also, don't be stupid and just do a 5-1 Dolphins today. Look, I think that's going to be very chalky. So whenever the field's going to build a particular way, you do benefit by building the opposite way. That said, this is probably not a slate where you want to go 5 Jets and 1 Dolphin. That's my Black Friday tip for you guys. I think don't onslaught the Jets in that game. But shout out Robert Griffin the Turd. Glad to see it. I also I didn't see your win. Was it on the Discord? I'm happy for Robert Griffin the Turd, of course, our guy Ross. He's been working as hard as anybody out there. But I think if there's anybody I would point to as one of my prized peoples here, we'll see what he does in the best ball season. But Ross asked me a lot of questions in the offseason. We talked about a lot of his builds, and it seems like he's getting the results. So I'm happy to see Ross doing well, even though, I want to see all you do well. But I'm happy to see my boy Ross doing well. All right, top 150 lineups. Let's favorite them. Highest ROI lineup right now, according to Stochastic: Baker Mayfield, Jonathan Taylor, Royce Freeman. Again, they also haven't put Kyron Williams in their projections, so that's going to fuck that up. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, George Pickens, Travis Kelce, Juju, and Patriots. I do want to show you guys here because I know this is what's going to come up based on what we just saw last stream I did with Stochastic last hour. So you're getting a ton of Taylor and a ton of Juju. So just something to keep in mind here. The Sims this week, these are not two plays that are going to change, I would think. If anything, if like Puka becomes more valuable because of Cooper Kupp being out, if Kyron Williams gets projected well because they haven't put him in yet, and Royce Freeman's projecting well enough, like I think there's going to be a lot of using these two guys as sort of the baseline to build off of, and in particular using Juju as the baseline to build off of. So anything you play from the Patriots that isn't Juju is going to be unique and also get you some leverage on the Sim bros out there. But I think for this build, like you have to say the Sims really think that Juju is a strong play. And whether you agree or not, like what he allows you to do with a 3K minimum salary is just going to get a lot of the best plays in. So I would play some Pop Douglas as leverage. I would play some Hunter Henry as leverage. I think those are smart plays to go to. But Juju is like a key part of how you get these lineups to give you big upside. So it's something to keep in mind. Highest leverage, guys, is pushing you towards Juju. Wants you to get 69% more than the field. So a very nice number to see Juju that highly. Jonathan Taylor, 52.5%. Chiefs here coming up at 34%. And then Evan Ingram at 28% more than the field. So the big plays they want to push you towards would be Juju, Taylor, Chiefs D, Evan Ingram, and Travis Kelce this week. And obviously you would assume with Ingram and Kelce, you're going to see a lot of 2 tight end builds with that one. Stack exposures. QB +2, you're getting the most of is going to be Stafford. Again, they have Royce Freeman projected well, but I do think Hiron/Puka will project well once you get Freeman and Kupp adjusted accordingly. So Stafford stacks are definitely in play. I don't love Stafford stacks just because I think he really has to have his guys hit the nuts. But with some consolidation of the offense with Kyron and Puka, I think this is 1 week where I'd be willing to play Stafford more than I normally be willing to. Baker Mayfield coming up is a lot of QBs +2s. Again, explosive pass rate by Indianapolis is very high in terms of what they're giving up. And also Indianapolis should find pass game success against that Bucs D. So a lot of logic to go to Bucs stacks as well. Minshew coming up a good amount here. He's number 3 overall in the QBs +2s. And then Jalen Hurts comes up a lot as a QB +1. So this is what they're pushing you towards for the +1. Stafford and Hurts. And again, this is with Kupp being in the projections right now. And I assume he will not be by Saturday or Sunday. Some QBs +3s, nothing too crazy here. Builds that I would try to pick for myself would be Tennessee stack this high, huh? Will Levis, Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, Chris Godwin, DeAndre Hopkins, Juju, McBride, Kelce, Chiefs. Kind of interesting. The spot for Tennessee against Carolina is pretty good. And in this particular build, you just need to see Derrick Henry punching a few touchdowns against a Carolina defense that we know does not defend the run well. And Levis has been still throwing it deep at a good rate, still 6 deep throws per game, even though the results have not been there. 10.1 intended air yards per attempt for Will Levis as well. So that's there for sure. Vegas's Tim Boyle's INT prop at 1.5. Oh, that's pretty tough. It's what is the probability on that one? Are we skewing towards the minus money? Because if it's above 50% of that, that's pretty tough. But I can check probably and see if we have that number available because I'm curious about that. But yeah, Dolphins D, just knowing that, I would say is certainly more of a priority play for a showdown slate. I'm checking this off screen right now. And with our probably data, of course, we check the top probabilities from sportsbooks around the world or the top performing sportsbooks around the world. And I'll see what Boyle lines we have here. All right. Dalvin Cook under 0.5 touchdowns, 87% chance. So not a Dalvin Cook day, it would seem. Tim Boyle's lines, let's see. What is his most recent one? So we're seeing market lines of over 168.5, 53% probability of hitting the over on that. It's not the greatest day in the world for Boyle, but could be worse relative to that. Under 30.5, longest completion has a 51% probability. Let's see. Yeah, over 1.5 interceptions has a 35% probability for Tim Boyle. So actually not that high compared to what you'd expect. And it is plus money, it looks like, plus 155 would be the odds on Boyle over 1.5 interceptions. So the market line's not great, but at least it's not an over 50% probability to throw 1.5 picks or more. Anyway, back to this stuff. Interesting stacks to look at. This Jalen Hurts one. Hurts ones will be pretty popular. I would think you probably want to have a bring back from Buffalo with this, with Jalen Hurts, just because there's not a lot of Bills coming up naturally, but also if this game does shoot out on the Bills side, you'd expect Jalen Hurts to have more of a ceiling level production. But Devontae Smith being in the mix, A.J. Brown, a rebound game for him against a Buffalo defense that does not defend out wide very well. A.J. Brown, a huge disappointment last time out for the Eagles, but in this spot, I think going back to him and Devontae, who does benefit quite a bit with Dallas Goedert out, I think this build makes sense as a QB +2. AFC South and Rams Cardinals seem like the way this week. Let's look at a Rams stack, or let's look at a Cardinal stack. You can see Rams ones on the screen. On the Arizona side, here is a Cardinal stack, which I'm not personally advocating for, but I do think that that is a game that certainly is live to have some outlier totals. Kyler Murray, Jonathan Taylor, James Conner, Cooper Kupp, Michael Wilson, Juju Smith-Schuster, Trey McBride, Travis Kelce, Chiefs. So you'd imagine there'll be a swap of Cooper Kupp to Puka Nacua if Kupp is ruled out, and you'll have a little more money to play with and maybe upgrade from Michael Wilson to something. But that is what's coming up for Arizona. Who else would I cape for this week? I mean, my big caping would be for Indianapolis. Gardner Minshew, Jonathan Taylor, Royce Freeman. Again, he won't be in one. Let's see if we could find one without Freeman. This one, Gardner Minshew, Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, Michael Pittman, Christian Kirk, Josh Downs, Travis Kelce, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Chiefs. Kind of interesting. What about one without Taylor? Let's see if we can find that up top. Because like I think a Minshew stack with Taylor is fine, but I think the most interesting Minshew stack is without Taylor. Let's just filter him out. Find it a little bit faster that way. It's coming up everywhere. All right, so here's your highest ROI Minshew stack without Taylor. Gardner Minshew, James Conner, Javonte Williams, Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, Chris Godwin, Evan Ingram, Cooper Kupp, Patriots. I would say, the 1v1 swap here would be downgrading Kupp to Puka, upgrading Javonte Williams to anything that's not a player facing the Browns D would be my hope. But that's what I would be looking at. Jacksonville stack with a Houston bring back. Anything for our pal Consigliere here. Let's remove that. And you want it with a bring back. Let's do a QB +2 with a bring back. I'm not going to go QB +3. +2 with a bring back. So this is the highest ROI one, QB +2 with a Houston bring back. Trevor Lawrence, Jonathan Taylor, Royce Freeman, Cooper Kupp, Tank Dell, Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, Trey McBride. One without Royce Freeman would be this one. Trevor Lawrence, Jonathan Taylor, James Conner, Tank Dell, Christian Kirk, Juju, Evan Ingram, Kelsey. So we are getting the two-man stack with the Jacksonville here with Kirk and Ingram. Kind of think Ridley is a more interesting play to me. Let me see if I could find one with Ridley. I do believe, by the way, for what it's worth, it doesn't make the most sense. And I was debating this with Greg a little bit, with Greg Ehrenberg on the last show I was doing with Stochastic. I think that Ridley does benefit because there's a lot of stuff out there if you follow the social media of it. His route tree changed completely by having Zay Jones in the mix, even though Zay Jones inherently, like, he's taking more of the pie away than you'd want to see, certainly more of the pie than like the guys that are rotating in, like Jamal Agnew and Tim Jones and whatever who are out there. But I think he does change the way that Ridley is being used enough where Ridley just can't win those go balls, can't win those contested catch balls anymore. So he was getting used more in routes that were getting him into space better. I think that Ridley is a stronger play now because of having Zay Jones back in the mix, but that's my personal belief. Here is one with Ridley, Trevor Lawrence, Jonathan Taylor, Bijan Robinson, Tank Dell, Michael Pittman, Calvin Ridley, Evan Ingram, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Broncos. That is going to be the one that I would say is probably the best version of Jacksonville. And Jacksonville, for what it's worth, looked better last week. I'm just not the biggest Jacksonville believer personally, but I'll be playing some Trevor Lawrence this week. Let's go to the Underdog lobby. It's a gauntlet, so we have to hit Underdog here, and let's build that out now. Battle Royale Week 12. If you want to play with me, let's do that right now. Battle Royale this week, 10K to first place in this one. Dog Bowl also the last week to enter on that to win yourself a chance to compete for Underdog's championship. Why is it fucking doing this to me all the time now? It never used to do this where it tells me I'm not in the right location, even though my location thing is on. What the fuck? Done. Continue allowing. All right. So I'm doing what I'm supposed to do here. Underdog just doesn't support my work of trying to draft my one team a week in the Battle Royale. All right. We're in. There we go. Thank God. Got to do my Battle Royale entry. It's part of the gauntlet. I can't not do it. So here we go. We are in the room. Got a bunch of guys with badges up top. We'll see what we do in the 4-hole. Of course, you could still play on Underdog with us by using that promo code SPLASH down below. I need to improve this graphic now that I actually have fancy graphics. But use the promo code SPLASH up to $100 deposit match. If you're a new sign-up as well, they also give you a mystery pick'em. It's one of those easy ones to add to your pick'em slips. But of course, pick'em's a lot of fun out there. The game stacking of pick'ems is something that Pete has talked about in his P.O. Box newsletter. Of course, our podcast partner / friend, Pete Overzet, talked about that one recently. So pick'em's very fun as well. I can't play them in Pennsylvania, but we're going to build one anyway. So lots of good things going on Underdog as well. And a lot of tournaments. I know people were really having a lot of fun with the Thanksgiving tournaments yesterday where they just kept feeding more and all you guys kept filling them. So that's the world of Underdog right now. And they do owe me a fucking cacti. It's true. I don't know, man. It's very odd to me too, like where they, obviously unfortunately they let the Trill Withers shows guys where my friend Coley, who I used to work with at Barstool and Trill Tyler over there as well. I would have thought that they would like me more because they seem to have like a little bit of a hard on for Barstool, but Underdog, just no respect for your old pal Spags. No cacti, no special deals here. We'll see what comes up in negotiation season after the Super Bowl. I'm threatening them. I would still, the thing that sucks, like they know they have me by the balls because like I would be lost without doing Underdog content. Like we'll do more DraftKings draft next year in best ball. We'll do more drafters drafts as well. But like I still have to have Underdog as part of the diet. I know what gets the views when people want to see. So that's how they get you. That's how they get you when you're in my creator class of people. Snow flurries here in North Tonawanda, New York. I did not even know that was a place. Most wonderful time of the year. Let's fucking go. Hey, shout out to Sammy. Sammy always the positive energy, which I appreciate. Absolutely. All right, so we got Jalen Hurts here. AJ Brown already went, so that's not the most ideal. Tank Dell is this high? Jesus Christ. All right, you know what? We don't love the Jonathan Taylor play on DraftKings, but on FanDuel scoring, like where there's some touchdown hunting / underdog scoring, obviously same thing. I'll take Jonathan Taylor here, and we'll see what we get. That guy taking AJ Brown. Is AJ Brown at this ADP? He's at a 2 ADP. All right, sure. I can't believe that Tank Dell is going this high, though. This is the only battle royale I'll do in the course of a week because I just don't have the time to max it out. And frankly, like I don't think you're going to win money if you're not getting close to maxing these things out. I am shocked to see Tank Dell at number 5 overall. Like that is lofty. That is lofty for Tank Dell. He's a great player. Like I love Tank Dell. He's one of the best parts of my best ball portfolio right now. But that's crazy that he's going that high. He's going higher than Devontae Smith, going higher than Puka, going higher than Mike Evans. All of whom are in fairly good spots. Blown away by that one. Tank's just too steamy. People just like, I think whenever like people didn't draft a guy enough in best ball or their season long leagues or whatever, they just go like, fuck, I got to get this guy now. I don't have him. Like I got to get him. And oof. Puka Nacua is going to be the next guy I take here. Again, not expecting Cooper Kupp to go. Puka, I think, at a very fair ADP relative to that. Though the 9 pick, if Kupp were back in, I think probably a dead lineup. But Puka to me in this spot, going against Arizona, who's so soft everywhere, I think Puka's a smash play if we do see some consolidation of targets for him. Again, and I think Cooper Kupp's not going to go. Tank Dell's team is an obvious Nico play this week. So the issue is that Tank is like very clearly ahead of Nico now in terms of the performance, in terms of the route run and all that stuff. So I think that's the one thing I would flag for it. But I would agree that you could go to Nico, same thing for going to Dalton Schultz. I think Noah Brown has not been practicing this week, so still no Noah Brown. Mechie doesn't have a ceiling really. But I think you could play like a Stroud plus Nico plus Singletary plus one of Schultz or Woods or Mechie. I think Woods is out of practice, but I think it was just an age thing. But you could play like a QB plus 3 that fades Tank, and I think that wouldn't be an insane thing to do because people are just a little bit too into Tank, at least on DraftKings. Obviously, for a Battle Royale, you can't cram in all those guys. I think I know what I'm going to try to build with this team, though, which we'll see what we get on the way back. Do you like Pittman coming up? Do you like Devontae Smith as well? Again, Devontae's role gets bigger with no Dallas Goedert out there. But I'm just going to stick with my guys here. We're going to go with another Colts player in Michael Pittman. We're going to try to target an upside day here for them. And I think we're just going to go with like 2 stacks and then some bullshit at tight end is how I'm feeling about this one. But I do like Indianapolis, Tampa Bay. Do like the Rams part of things as well. If I get Kyron Williams on the way back, I think I'll be happy to take that one. But if not, we'll do something else. Devontae Smith just fallen. Surprised to see DeAndre Swift go ahead of Devontae Smith. But I guess it makes sense for this guy's build. It's a leisurely Battle Royale draft. I miss best ball drafting. I miss just doing best ball streams. You show up. I don't have to do any data prep. I just have to read The Athletic and I could come in and do some drafts and just bullshit for an hour. And now it's like I got to do like prep work. I'm doing streams before streams. Too much going on. All right, let's take Kyron with this one as well. And then we're going to go down. We're going to scroll the F down for our tight end and our quarterback. I think a QB, we could obviously go 2 ways. We could take Stafford or we could take Gardner Minshew. Kind of think Minshew's upside is a little bit higher. But I think both are valid plays. And I could also just go off the deep end and go with a Kyler stack with maybe Trey McBride. So I presume McBride is still available. Yeah, there he is. Got some optionality here. Don't hate this team. Though I do wonder how chalky this build is. Probably not because it's like 2 guys from 2 teams, I think would be that. How are we doing today, Spags? I'm missing a lot of your shows. Always a fun way to introduce things. I'm good, and I appreciate you being here, KG. I'm not watching your shows right now, but hey, just to catch me up. Things, you should watch all the shows and then you'll know exactly how things are. But things are cooking right now. That's all I can say. And of course, things are cooking out Probably, so check that out as well. Probably email going out later today as well. When we do my breakdown of the betting markets, which actually does help me out every week. I've been identifying shootouts at like an impossibly high rate in the email, so I'm actually trying to follow that a little bit more aggressively. Where am I scrolling the F down? We're going to scroll the F down. I guess we don't need to take a QB because all these guys have taken a QB. Fucking McBride went, though. Oh, this is getting tough. Hold on. Minshew it is. Panic click. Kind of think that Stafford is more the scroll down play, but we have a QB who's not getting drafted either way. So that'll be my scroll F down, is that I got a QB who's not getting drafted, and we're going to take a tight end who's also not getting drafted. That is fair. NBA takes a lot of time. I don't play NBA for the most part unless I'm doing content for it that day. Because of NFL, how much time it takes up. But once the NFL season is over, we'll see what I'm doing NBA-wise. I actually might be doing a few more NBA content pieces for Stochastic because I think Lofty is going on a little bit of a paternity leave for himself. They're not too long of one. But no promises there. But I know Mr. Shadow Dog, of course, who always is pining for me to talk NBA. Might have some of that coming up in a little bit. I wish the Colts had like a tight end that you could actually draft and have any sort of confidence in. I don't think it would make sense in this build anyway with having both Pittman and Taylor. But it's like Kylan Granson. We still have Ogletree. I guess Ogletree's hurt, not getting a projection right now. Is Jelani Woods ever going to play football again? Is another generalized question I have for tight ends. NBA is very tiring. A lot of data to update throughout the course of a day, and the late swapping stuff as well. It's easier than ever with the Stochastic late swap tool. Like I think is really strong, and I was using that when I do play NBA slates. And you can also then pull in real ownership and make it simulate off of like actual field ownership, which I like. But it's also like it's just I don't know. It's a lot of work every day, especially when you are doing NFL, which I'm doing as hard as anybody. Jelani Woods is that guy. I know he's never playing again. I mean, I thought like I was drafting him a lot early, and it's funny because I could tell teams now where it's like, oh, I must have drafted this one early because Jelani Woods is in it. But I really think that for Jelani Woods, man, he just like he is the wrong time, wrong place for that injury because this would have been a breakout year for him, whether it be Minshew or AR out there. Now we're not going to do that. I hate Evan Ingram as a play. So I keep getting him sim-wise, but I think, again, we got boxed out on tight end a little bit here. I don't want to take a Colts tight end, and I don't think taking Higbee here without his QB makes the most sense. So we're going to go Ingram. My final Battle Royale team, Gardner Minshew, Jonathan Taylor, Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, Michael Pittman, Evan Ingram. So we're getting double correlations on the same team, not doing bringbacks because those are not necessarily as correlated, even though they're fine to play with. But I think with this one, Evan Ingram, 33, we'll take him there, and that'll be the thing that closes it out. Let's build a pick'em here. What's a good game to build around pick'em wise? I think it's got to be Tampa Bay and Indianapolis. And let's see some lines here. Mike Evans, 61.5 receiving yards. Let me pull up probably data too so I can market check this real fast and real time. Indianapolis and Tampa Bay. Mike Evans. All right, so we only have his over 4.5 receptions at a 52% probability. So we're pretty close. Again, for if you are building pick'ems on Underdog, and the math is very similar in Prize Picks as well, build a 5-leg because that decreases your win rate that you need to hit for each leg the most. It gets you closer to about a 54%, 55% probability. So for the most part, any bet you would take here, if you find a market line out there that is a 55% probability, it should always be in your pick'em. For this one, though, because I'm going to try to build off of a specific game, I'm going to go with Mike Evans, 52% probability of over 4.5 yards. You can also get that bet. Best bet right now is ESPN bet at -125. And we're going to put this one in here higher on 4.5 receptions. Let's correlate that with Baker, who I think is going to have a pretty good day. Baker Mayfield has 2 props available, not a completion prop, which I would have liked to have seen. Baker has a 50% chance of under 242.5. Looks like it was the most recent one. Let me make sure that's accurate. Yeah, so his market line here is a little bit lower. Okay, so 50% chance of over 240.5 is the most recent one. 50% probability to hit. So we're a little bit off the mark where we want to be. But again, we're trying to correlate a matchup here. So we're going to go with Baker Mayfield. on this one. Just watch you and Greg at Stochastic. Greg, shout out your channel. So I came over and subscribed. Didn't know you had your own content. Hey, glad to hear it, John. I don't do a great job promoting it here, but I do show up every day, Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. to give you guys the best takes. So welcome to the family, John. Appreciate it. Join the Squirt Squad as well if you want down below. But subscribing is more than enough for your first video. I appreciate that. Otten for the bring back, still running the routes. Hope for the 2 touchdown game. Yeah, you could do Otten. Otten never really stokes the fire for me too much, but I get it. All right, we're going to go to the Colts side of the equation here. Michael Pittman week is afoot. And for what it's worth, you know, a lot of my best ball guys are hitting their stride right now. So this being a week where Pittman goes off, where we got Christian Watson going well, maybe this is a week where Pittman can do it too. Let me check Pittman's market lines. Over 69.5 was it as of 12:44 p.m. So this is a fresh update. So the market line right now is over 69.5 at a 50% probability. So we're going to take that higher here. Let's do that. Other Colts that we can get to with this one, Minshew will correlate the play with him. Do you think Minshew gets there passing-wise? His market line, let me see if I could find one that's credible here. Over 36.5 longest passing yards is the only credible probability we have right now. Probably 1.5 passing TDs. I think I'd be inclined to go to yardage with this one. Because like we think that Downs is going to have a good game. I think that we do see some Jonathan Taylor checkdowns as well. So I'm going to go higher on 242.5 passing yards for Minshew as well. And again, we're building this like a DFS lineup where we're correlating, trying to build a good game environment. That's what we're trying to do here. And let's see a good Taylor touchdown prop. I think a Taylor touchdown prop would complete this decently. You just get such bad vig on the touchdown props where like Jonathan Taylor's touchdown line is probably like 30% probability, I would guess. Let's see, Taylor, 79.5 rushing yards. That's not advantageous. 21.5 receiving yards. That's not advantageous on Underdog either. Again, I hate taking the touchdown props on Underdog because like the probability math just doesn't work, but we are capturing a game environment here, so I would take the higher on Taylor, at least tentatively. Let's look at Downs. If there's any Downs props, I would be going here. Downs, 47.5. He's got a 45% chance of the over on 47.5, it looks like. It's not the best. I guess I'll stick with the Taylor ones. This will be my final prop that I can't submit here in Pennsylvania anyway, but if you want to tail it, please do and let me know how it goes, or use this as a base to build off of. Final pick'em slip, though, higher, 4.5 receptions for Mike Evans, higher, 240.5 passing yards for Baker Mayfield, higher for Michael Pittman, 69.5 receiving yards, higher for Gardner Minshew, 242.5 passing yards, and then higher on Jonathan Taylor on getting just a half rushing plus receiving touchdown. That is going to be the pick'em slip that we will build here. And I think that closes it out for the week, guys. So again, go to probably.com if you can right now. That is my baby. The deal is going right now, of course, for all the Splash Play subs. Save 50% for yourself on any Probably membership, and that includes monthly or yearly. And I can tell you, if you get them for the yearly now, we're going to add a lot of stuff that adds value. We're already starting to work on the back end to build a pick'em builder for Underdog and also for Prize Picks and for Better. I guess for all of them, it's kind of the same thing. But that's going to be our next product that comes out with Probably. Of course, what we do at Probably is track top performing sportsbooks around the world to find the true probability of every event and then grade it out against legal sportsbooks to find you the best bet at any time. It's updated in real time. The live data as well goes off. You get the $49.99 a month package or the $4.99 a year package. But again, you're saving half off on that. So use the promo code SPLASH or Probably. Please support me, but also support you guys. Like if you've watched the Probably videos on Wednesday, I went 4-1 with the bets that I identified, which I wish I were placing every single one right now, but the bankroll is not great. So I'm actually going to start betting everything again myself because I've been floored by how accurate I've been just going through and clicking stuff real live and in real time on Probably's YouTube streams that I've been doing. But go check it out at probably.com. See it for yourself. Try it out. If you get crushed, let me know, and I'll do something the best I can, I guess, to make it right for you. But it's just mathematical, profitable bets. It makes it easy to get in good bets from a toilet, from wherever in the world, and in any game, any sport as well. That's sort of the power of the tool. It's a lot similar to OddsJam if you're familiar with them, but we're cheaper, and it's a mobile app. So that's sort of the plus sides of it. Check it out at probably.com and get on the wait list as well, or on the mailing list at probablyapp.com so you can get my email every week where I break down all the top probabilities for every game in the NFL. That's what we do there. And shouts to the Squirt Squad. Oh, it's Friday, so I have to read them all today. Of course, as I'm losing my voice. Robert Griffin III, Historical Anomalies, Matthew Emerson, Tyler, CLN, Methology, Rupesh, Willis is awesome, our guy Willis, Nick Hedgeland, Ivan Black, Rod B. Throbin, Port, Tony Mark, aka Io, Rob Van Natten, Brandon Wagner, Consigliere, Bolick, Aaron D, Nez from the Badge Bros, a luminary here who's a sub, Jake Twitchell, fucking Alpha, Sammy Telesco, I am the KY, Kevin Castro, Eric Jones, Colin Mann, Matt Schwab, Gamblestein, and Lateralis. You have all helped me put on the show this week, and I appreciate you. And if you want to help me put on the show, please hit the join button down below for $4.99 a month and help us keep putting on Splash Play here. Of course, follow me at Chris Spags, follow the show at Splash Play Pod, subscribe down below, hit the like button, leave a comment, and I'll be back with you guys on Monday. I will also be on Stochastic Sunday morning with Matt Bellman over there doing the early stream at 9 a.m. So if you want some more Spags content up to date with all the data that comes in over the course of a weekend, come join me there. It's Sunday at 9 a.m. But appreciate all you guys being with me as always. Hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. Go spend money, go indulge in capitalism for your Black Fridays and your Cyber Mondays. I'll see you guys again soon. Enjoy your weekends and good luck. Bye.